Hey guys, hope everyone's doing well. This is Ryan from resume2offer.com. Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of a heads up on everything kind of going on. And today we're also going to talk about how you can prepare a little bit better for tech sales interviews or just tech interviews in general. They kind of go hand in hand. Yeah, a lot of stuff's been happening. So just got back from the honeymoon. Pretty fun. It was really fun. And I'd like to thank not just tech sales, but sales in general for allowing me that ability to travel around the world, go on cruises, and that was a lot of fun. And if you haven't seen the last videos, I met other tech sales people on a cruise. We went out to dinner for drinks. We sat next to one for another dinner. So it was kind of like you keep seeing people that have the same energy or people that are living that kind of same life. So it's very interesting to kind of see in action. So today, we're going to talk about how you can prepare a little bit better for your tech sales interviews, for what you should do beforehand, which always kind of gets people, have questions about it. So yesterday evening, I was helping doing a consulting call for Tech Sales Ascension. If you don't know what that is, great boot camp. They teach you everything about tech sales, and they do a really well job of getting you ready for the role. And there were several people on that call. One person already has 4 final interviews, and they've only been in the program for like 3 weeks or something. But it came up a lot on how to do interview prep. And so just a heads up, I do the coaching calls for at least the resume optimization and job interview prep at least once a week for them. So it's a great thing. If you want some more information, definitely check out the link below so you can kind of see that. There's also a discount link. Yep, there's a discount link in case you need it, in case you want to check it out for yourselves. Anyway, so how to prepare. So first thing that we want to get into, you definitely want to invest 10 minutes, please, just 10 minutes on looking at the company. Okay, looking at the company structure. It's very easy. Go on their website, go on LinkedIn, look at how big the company is, who the founder was, when they were founded, what is the product lineup. Okay, and you also want to look at certain departments, especially if you're whatever department you're joining. If you're joining cybersecurity, look at the cybersecurity department. If you're looking at the sales, look at the sales department. How big is it? When did it start? Right? Who's the most senior person? Chances are that person's probably going to be on the interview. So you want to kind of find out and map out a few different things. This only takes 10 minutes. You shouldn't be spending hours. You do want to spend an hour though on the actual interview prep itself. Okay? So, ideally, you spend about 10 minutes, you're going through the company history, how they were founded, you're finding out a little bit of their past, where they are, where they're going. Okay, very, very important. But also about the product lineup, who their market is, who their demographic is, little things like that. And this is also going to help you if you can figure out kind of the product lineup so that if you have part of the interview, a little bit of a mock, cold call or a mock kind of behavioral situation, you can easily tailor your response to this. Okay, so spend about 10 minutes finding out those attributes, little things like that, so you can be more prepared. You also want to find out who's interviewing you. If you know who's interviewing you, usually it's probably going to be the recruiter. If it's a panel, it's probably going to be the sales manager or the person who's the head of sales. It's going to probably be a recruiter. It's probably going to be an HR person. The CEO might be on there depending on the size of the company. So just a heads up. What you want to do is for each person, if you're aware, go on their LinkedIn. Okay? If you want like a really big tip, maybe a few days before, like you go on their profile and you follow them. Okay? They're going to see that you checked out their profile on LinkedIn. And then you want to make sure that you are kind of checking out, maybe scanning them, look a little bit at their past, and find maybe 1 to 2 little icebreakers. And this is good in sales in general if you have the job. Look at little icebreakers that you can do. So for example, if somebody's into Tony Robbins, right, if I see that they're following that person, I'm like, oh my gosh, yeah, I've actually been to his event, which is true. I've been to his event in Tokyo, funny enough. So I have a little bit of an icebreaker. Right? You want to find some commonality. I was always taught when I was doing recruiting very heavily, you look for the uncommon commonalities, the things that you and the other person share. It has to be real though. It's like, don't make it up, but you look for those things. Look at maybe their education. Maybe they're part of your alumni, or maybe they were at a similar company. or maybe in a similar space. So look for those things. You know, if they don't have it, no worries, but it's always good to check just in case. Kind of a way at, you know, when I kind of got my first recruiting job, that was something that happened. So I was able to find that common rapport and building rapport with the other person who's interviewing you, okay? It does come down to a lot of the times likability and company culture fit. All right, so you do that. Now the same day of your interview, so say a few days before, you go on their profile, you make a note, you're doing research on the company. The same day is when you go back on their LinkedIn and you send a connection request. You send a connection request with a note. And the note is like, hey, Tom, hey, insert name here. You know, really looking forward to our interview later today. Would love to add you to my professional network. Ryan. That's it. Very, very simple. But this is going to help you stand out from the crowd, and it's going to let you, they're going to remember you. Because now if you're adding a connection, they're going to get an email request and they see the note. They're going to like, oh, I have an interview. Even if there's like, they might have 10 interviews lined up for the entire day, but if they see yours is going to stand out, okay? So very, very good to know. Now, here are some things that I would recommend. You want to make sure you're practicing your interview maybe the day before. You're going through your own presentation, talking about yourself, where you are, where you want to go, your background, but also you want to practice the common questions, right? Why are you currently in the market? What are your strengths and weaknesses? What is your targeted salary? Some of those common questions that are going to come up in the interview, you want to practice. And you want to make sure you're using the art of answering the question with the right amount of brevity. Remember, there is a allotted time for this. If you just keep talking, right, they're not going to get through all the questions. And also it kind of shows to them, maybe it's not the most couth business professionalism. So you want to make sure that you're kind of balancing that time. Ideally, if you guys want, obviously I offer mock interview services to help you. I've done over, 10,000 different interviews with different people. So if you want some of my help to kind of get a one-on-one specialized, you can go to my website, resume2offer.com, and book a session there. Otherwise, look at yourself in the mirror. You can do this, videotape yourself, see how you present, okay? Put on the camera on your laptop and just kind of like go like this and just see how it looks from the Zoom, from their perspective. So you do this once the day before, and then the day of, make sure you allot an hour beforehand and you run through it again. So this is the same thing if you're like practicing for a theater production. You are not memorizing your lines, but you at least know the flow of the interview. And you want to make sure that it's fresh. If you run through it like maybe 2 times, your own summary and your professional, introduction, and then kind of going through those common questions, and then ask yourself, what are some of the things they may ask? What are some of the things I haven't thought of yet? What are some of the things that they might, do? They might all of a sudden make you do like a cold call, like kind of randomly. This was a big question that happened on the call yesterday is like, what happens if this happens? What happens if they make me do cold calls? If they make you start doing cold calls, for example, they're not looking for you to like close the sale right away. They're looking on your personality, their confidence, are you able to think on your feet? If you get a few objections, are you able to overcome those, right? As well as be a level of professionalism, okay? If you're the salesperson, you're a brand ambassador. Even if you don't get the sale, that person might become a client, not now, but down the road. So they want to see that, make sure you're not burning bridges or you're not giving them a bad brand image, okay? So just be aware of that and don't take it too personally if like they make you do a cold call and you're not able to close the sale. It's really to just have that friendliness and professionalism and product knowledge at the same time, all right? Cool. Make sure to have your resume handy. You want to make sure that you have a physical copy next to you. You have a notepad next to you as well to take down questions or things that you might want to jot down as well. When I do a Zoom call, when I'm doing a video, I recommend this to students is if you have a few things that you can't really remember and you need a little of a notepad, have it next to the screen. So the Zoom, like the camera is going to be like looking right, and you want to make sure you're looking at the camera, not so much like the corner of where you are. Look at the camera, and then maybe on the side have a few notes written down or typed out, so that in case you run into a snag, you're able to like quickly like look at those things. Okay? All right, and also you want to make sure that you have a few questions at the ready at the end. So usually the format is you do an introduction, they go around the room and ask you different questions, and at the end you have questions. So make sure that you have some questions at the end, at least 2 to 5, depending on the time. You want to make sure that you also end the interview at least 5 to 10 minutes before whenever it's supposed to. Say it's like from 10 to 10:30, okay? You want to make sure you end at 10:25. You want to make sure that you give them the ability to have a 5-minute window to take a break before their next interview, okay? And nobody, if it starts getting to 10:31, you make the whole schedule and it disrupts everything. So just, it's obviously you want the job, but be aware of their timing too and what's going on around you. So have a few questions at the end. What does success in this position look like? Why is the position open, for example? How did you guys join? What do you guys like about it? Tell me a little bit about the company culture. Some easy questions that you can use. Anyway, I think that's pretty good. Hope that helps. Would love to hear any of you guys get new jobs. Just to also, one little thing, if you guys check out, we have a link to, I've compiled this folder that has free resumes, free tips, free everything and templates. So feel free to check out that link and use that. I've already gotten multiple messages from people. I kind of did a poll about a month ago, reached out to a lot of people over the last year, and several of them have gotten jobs because of those email and resume templates. So check that out. Last but not least, make sure to follow up. Follow up, as well as thank the people after the interview. Those little touch points definitely make a difference. For example, we just hired a person as an SDR. We had over 500 applications. She was the only person who researched the company and followed up. We put out the job ad. We weren't ready at that time. Some things had happened. And all of a sudden, she just kept following up once a month. She got the job. So just be aware of that, okay? Those little touch points really, really help. Anyway, guys, again, check out the description below for a lot of material, some things that can help you. Also ways of reaching out to me. You can add me on LinkedIn. Check out the link below. But anyway, happy hunting, and hope you guys get the jobs that you want, okay? All right, cheers.